Hey, how's it going? NestJS version 10 just recently came out, and I just want to walk through some of the big changes as well as what you need to pay attention to and how to actually perform that upgrade yourself. So the biggest introduction to version 10 is SWC, which is an alternative tool to bundle and compile your TypeScript code. It's Rust based and it's supposed to be 20 times faster than what NestJS is currently using, which basically TSC. Now the catch though is that it's not going to be enabled for you by default. You actually have to opt into it, and the way to opt into it is to basically provide a -b flag for nest start and then give it the value SWC. And generally what you should expect is that it's going to build your application significantly faster, almost instantly in some cases. You can even do that for nest build as well. You can see that it also has the -- builder here that allows for SWC, and that's the same as -b, by the way, which is just a shorthand alias for it. It's worth mentioning though that SWC doesn't handle type checking itself, so that's why they provide the -- type check flag, which basically allows it to run TSC in parallels, so that you're using SWC for the compiling, the building, but you're still using TSC for the type checking. So you get a little bit of the benefits from both tools that way. Now you might be wondering, why didn't they just make SWC the default? And I believe that's because there's a couple gotchas with SWC. For example, it doesn't handle circular imports. They actually have an example here for, a typical reason you might have a circular import is maybe your type ORM entity, for example, has a one-to-one relation. So this is the main gotcha that you need to watch out for. So there are some documentation here to help you if you run into it. While we're on this page, I should also mention that they do also provide support for doing this with Jest. So you can see the Jest config here, where originally you might have TS Jest here. It's just swapping it out for SWC Jest. So again, it's allowing you to use SWC to compile the TypeScript for running Jest. So that's honestly the biggest change in version 10 is the introduction of SWC. A couple other things. For testing, if you're unit testing your code, you can now actually override an entire module. You couldn't do that before. You had to manually override the individual providers inside a module. So that's a very nice addition. By the way, I do have a video on how to do testing for Nest.js if you want to check that out. Basically, you can take what you learned there and just assume that you also have this API. They've also added support for wildcards for Reddit subscriptions. So you can see they have a couple examples here where, like a glob pattern basically allows you to subscribe for any of those as wildcards. Now at this point, you're probably wondering, why is this a major version upgrade? So far, what we've seen are like opt-in nice additions. We don't really see anything that's breaking yet. And it's really these two things that you need to pay attention to. One is the cache module. If you're using that, it used to come from NestJS Common, and now it's on its own standalone package that you have to install. So you can see the documentation for that. You just need to manually install it. And the other thing is dropping support for Node v12, which has been end of life since April 2022. So it's been at least a year so far. So if you're still using Node 12 for some reason, you should probably just upgrade. Otherwise, if you can't, then you probably shouldn't upgrade to v10. One other minor thing is if you're using any of the CLI plugins, you now have to use TypeScript 4.8 or above. Now, if you're wondering how to update, let's say that you have an old project that's using NestJS version 9, all you have to do is do npx npm check updates and then provide a regular expression in here to match all the packages that you need to update, which is pretty much anything that says NestJS in it. And then you can use the -u flag, which will update your package.json. So for example, if I run this, it's going to tell me that all of these things are upgradable. And then I just need to run npm install to install the new versions, because the -u will actually update your package.json. And then the other thing, like I said, if you're going to use SWC, make sure that you install the CLI and the SWC core. If you're going to use it with Jest, you also need to install SWC/Jest. And then finally, like we talked about, you either just need to add the flags for SWC in your scripts, or you need to update the nestcli.json. So for example, if you had an original dev script like this, you can just add -b SWC and then -- type check, and then you can do that as well for the build. Alternatively, you can go to nestcli.json and just add those options in here like this: SWC for the builder, type check true, and that's pretty much the equivalent of providing these flags, so you can probably delete these. That's pretty much all you need to know about as far as upgrading goes. It's very simple. Hopefully you found the video helpful. Let me know if you have any comments. Also, by the way, I'm working on another Nest.js video that's going to be uploading in the next day or two. It's about end-to-end type safety, so that you automatically have the correct types both on your API, but also whatever your consuming client is, it'll automatically have the types of your response and stuff like that. So it's going to be a really good video. If it's something that you're interested in, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button and the bell icon so that you get notified. But yeah, anyways, I hope to see you in that next video. Catch you later.